Welcome, my dear friends, to the 61st class of the Bhagavad Gita. We are studying chapter 8. In the last class, we studied from verses number 7 to 11. And let us quickly revise those shlokas. In shloka number 7, Krishna says to Arjuna very clearly, he says, "Remember me always and engage in the battle of activity. Surrender to me thy mind and thine understanding, and thus without doubt thou shalt come to me." So there are four important points in this shloka. And the first is, of course, remember me always. So he doesn't say, okay, when you are free, when you have time, when you're done with your duties, when you're done with your job, when you're done with your pleasures and your entertainments, when you're done with your eating and sleeping, then you can remember me and I will think of you. No, he says, remember me always. Eating, sleeping, working, meditating, praying, singing, walking, sitting, in every activity, you must remember him. So the devotee is ready. Whether death comes, when it comes, the seeker is ready to go into the infinite because he or she has practiced connecting with the infinite during, in our lifetime, when we are still in a living body. The second point is engaged in the battle of life. So Krishna is again a clear example and a direction. So when he says to Arjuna that this is the atman and this is karma yoga, this is bhakti yoga, then it is natural that Arjuna can say, okay, then let me just retire to a forest and then sit in meditation pose, as you have told me, Krishna, and you have told me that I am the atman, and I am not the doer, although it appears I'm the doer. So because of all these things, let me just leave my chariot, get out of the battlefield, go into the forest and sit and meditate. But no, Krishna is very clear. He says, go and fight the battle. And for us, it is go and fight the battle of life on a daily basis. We cannot shirk our responsibilities. We have to fulfill all our duties. Whatever duties are according to our dharma, according to our station in life, according to our position in life, all of that has to be fulfilled. The third point, he says, surrender to me thy mind and thy understanding or intellect. And this, of course, means that we have to engage all our thought, all our desire, all our understanding, all our I-ness. Everything has to be surrendered at the feet of the Lord, at the feet of the infinite, of the feet of omnipresence. And then he says, if you are able to do these things, then without doubt you shall come to me. Now, this is a promise. And asanchayam, there should be no doubt. There is no doubt you will come to me. So are we making sure in our life that these things are being practiced by us? Are we single-pointedly seeking the Lord or surrendering to the Lord, and simultaneously are we doing our duties? And are we, calling upon him in prayer? Are we singing to him in chant? Are we listening to his stories, his leela that he has played in the form of various avatars? Are we engaged in, talking about God? When we sit with friends, what are we engaged with? Are we just gossiping, talking about this and that? Or are we engaged in talking about truth, about immortality, about ever new joy, about the one Lord, about the true love of our being, our Heavenly Father, Mother, Friend, and Beloved? So we have to check our life every moment. So that is why the first shloka of the Bhagavad Gita, the opening shloka, says, what did they, when Pandavas and Kauravas, they were facing each other on the battlefield, what did they? And that is the introspective analysis that each devotee must do at the end of every day. And ask yourself, so end of today, maybe you can just take a moment, close eyes, introspect. How much time did I give to God today? How much did I think about him? Or was I totally engaged in my worldly activities and talking to people and finishing up my duties? Now remember, all the duties, worldly duties that we have been given have been given to us by the Lord, and their purpose is that by doing those duties, we will eventually be able to purify the chitta and we will be able to connect with him. And therefore, if you do the duty and forget him right now, then it's going to be difficult. The journey is long and arduous, and he is giving you a shortcut here. So we might as well introspect into our day, into moment by moment, hour by hour, and see how much we can connect to God in any which way, which is, close to our heart. And of course, the best way is the Kriya Yoga, is the airplane route, because it takes you to that. It doesn't talk about an arbitrary God, sitting on the seventh heaven. When we talk of Kriya Yoga, we talk of the experience of bliss within us. We talk of the experience of peace within us, wisdom within us, light and sound within us. So that means, and by the practice of Kriya Yoga, if you can feel that peace within you, that is the connection with God, because all these are the aspects of God. If you feel very, very peaceful, you are connecting to God. And when you carry this peace over into your daily duties, then that is what is Krishna is saying. You are doing your duty, but because you have connected to me, you can feel my peace. So stay centered, stay in that peace, and then do your duty. So it's not just an intellectual concept that is being talked about. Okay, in my mind, half my mind is doing japa and half of the cerebrum is doing my worldly duties. Not necessarily so. For some, it may be true. But for Kriya Yogis, what is more true is that you have meditated, you have filled yourself with God's love, God's peace, and God's joy. And then that is spilling over into your daily activities. Even while you do your activities, you are so calm. You are calmly active. You are actively calm, as Master has said. And simultaneously, even during your work, you are so connected with the Lord that when you are faced with a difficulty and your intuition has awakened, you are able to ask Him a question and receive an answer instantaneously. So ask yourself, are you ready for such an adventure? Are you so connected to the Lord that that you can intuitively get answers to your problems right away, right there, moment by moment? So if not, we need to do more and more work, because the more we are connected to the Lord, not only our lives they will be filled with happiness, they will be filled with peace, and even when difficulties will come, we'll easily slide and glide through them. In shloka number 8, Krishna says, he attains the supreme effulgent Lord, which is the Parampurusha or the spirit, whose mind is stabilized by yoga and is immovably fixed in the thought of him. So again, the same thought is being carried over, but another concept has been brought, is that the mind has to be stabilized by yoga, and such a person will be able to connect with spirit. So all the yogas that are there, now we know that yoga is both the journey and the destination, and that is why we have Raja Yoga, we have Bhakti Yoga, we have Karma Yoga, and we have Jnana Yoga. And the word yoga is literally, it means uniting yourself. So are you uniting yourself by using all these 4 yogas? Why do I say 4 yogas? Of course, when we meditate, we are Kriya Yogis. With that action, we will unite our consciousness. But then the rest of the day, so maybe you're a great meditator and you are spending 4 hours every day, but I know most of us are not. So whatever the rest of the day has to also be in union in some way or the other. So whenever you're doing action, are you offering it to the Lord, uniting your will with the divine will? Whenever you are contemplating in your mind about the truth of the universe or the truth of yourself, are you bringing in the concept of the infinite Lord in that contemplative thought? And of course, when you are loving, then are you loving is your love a materialistic kind of loving attachment, or is your love a devotional kind of love, which is freely given to the Lord without any transactional condition that, oh God, please give me this and please give me that? Are you giving your love unconditionally to the Lord? And that includes giving your love to all His children as well. So here, and unless we are utilizing all these paths that are given to us, our mind cannot be stabilized, because it is the nature of the mind to go here and there, hither and thither. It will run amok, so from jump from one thought to the other. And we know it is so obstinate and it is so turbulent that it will bring up the associated emotions as well, and then our entire mind goes into like a tsunami. And therefore, that tsunami has to be settled. And by practicing the 4 yogas, and especially Kriya Yoga, you will be able to stabilize your mind. You will be able to fix your thought on God. And so therefore, there is no, bypass to this. You cannot think your way to stabilizing your mind. You have to do these practices. And if you're on the path of Raja Yoga, like most of us, then you don't just directly jump into Kriya Yoga. Yoga is a way of life. That means you practice the yamas and the niyamas. You practice stabilizing your body. You do the breath work which is required. And doing that, you interiorize your mind. And then, of course, you do the Dharana, Dhyana, and automatically the Samadhi will come. So step by step, everything has has to be done. For those who are new to the path of Raja Yoga, now these steps, although they sound sequential, that first is yama, second is niyama, third is asana, and fourth is pranayam, but actually they are to be practiced parallelly and not necessarily sequentially. And if you can perfect yourself in any one of these steps, it is very amazing that it helps to bring your magnetism and consciousness up, that practicing the rest of the steps automatically becomes easier. But we have to put in our effort to practice each one of this to the best of our capability. And if we give it 100%, the universe helps us. The intelligent, of the intelligence of the universe cooperates with us. It supports us even if we fall. So, but we have to give it our all. In shlokas number 9 and 10, Krishna says, at the time of death, a yogi reaches the Supreme Lord or Spirit if, with love and the power of yoga, he fully penetrates his life force between the eyebrows, which is the seat of the spiritual eye, and if he fixes his mind unwaveringly on the being who is beyond all delusion of darkness, the one who shines like the sun, the one whose form is unimaginable, just subtler than the finest atom, the supporter of all, the great ruler, eternal and omniscient. Because the second half of the verse is actually explaining about the Lord, but the first half of the shloka, so ninth shloka actually is a directive to us. Now again, a direct instruction is coming from Krishna. He is saying, at the time of death, you will attain God if, point number one, if you with love. So here comes the aspect of bhakti, of devotion. Without opening your heart, only with your intellect, no one can reach anywhere. And of course, we have understood that the intellect, to the intellect, there is a limitation. But to the love of the heart, there is no limitation, because love is the substratum of the universe. The second is again, the power of yoga has been brought in. So with love and the power of yoga, so you have been practicing yoga through your life. Yoga abhyas has been done. You have learned to stabilize your mind. Together with this, now only if you have practiced yoga and you have practiced your mind, then comes is to be talking about pranayam, and you have learned to control and manage your prana. And we are able to lift your prana up and fix it at the point between the eyebrows. Now, of course, we know this is a direct indication towards the practice of Kriya Yoga. And we are Kriya Yogi, so we directly benefit from this shloka that has been given. And we are truly blessed that we are on this path, because on most other paths, what happens is, even if you're doing mantra yoga, or if you're, maybe you're just a karma yogi, or maybe you're just, practicing loving God, but you've not learned how to do pranayam and how to control your prana, then all these things will also lead to the same one spirit. Absolutely, yes. Everything good that you do, everything good that you think, every act of bhakti, every act of inner contemplation, everything leads to the Lord. But this, by doing Kriya Yoga, by practicing the techniques of Raja Yoga, you are directly coming on the highway of the spine, which eventually leads you to the point between the eyebrows. And of course, then for liberation, it takes you to the Sahasrara. So that is why it is the airplane route. Through all other ways, those are bypaths, and those lanes will eventually connect to the spinal highway. And the Kriya Yogi is straight up on that spinal highway. Okay. Then in shloka number 11, Krishna says, that which the Vedas declare as immutable, that which is gained by the renunciants, and that which is gained by the ascetics, the method of attaining that supreme effulgence, I will relate to thee in brief. So in this shloka, which is shloka number 11, it's like a bridge. And he will now, from shloka number 12 onwards, now Krishna gives again further specific instructions on how a devotee can attain the Lord. So we begin with shloka number 12. 12 and 13 verses have been taken together. So I will read them together. 12. सर्वद्वाराणि संयम्य मनोहृदि निरुध्य च मूर्धन्याधायात्मात्रं प्राणम अस्थितो योगधारणाम्. 13. Om Ityai Akaksharam Brahma Vyaharnamam Nusmaran Ya Prayati Tyajan Deham Sayati Paramam Gatim. In Hindi, जो शरीर के नव द्वारों को बंद करता है, जो अपने मन को एकांत में अनाहत चक्र में रखता है, सारी प्राण शक्ति को प्रमस्तिष्क मीन सेरिब्रम में केंद्रित करता है, जो स्वयं को ओम यानी पवित्र शब्द ब्रह्म में अवस्थित करके इस प्रकार योग के नियमित अभ्यास में संलग्न रहता है तथा शरीर का त्याग करते समय मेरा ब्रह्म का स्मरण करता है, वह परम लक्ष्य को प्राप्त करता है. He who closes the 9 gates of the body, who cloisters the mind in the heart center, who fixes the full life force in the cerebrum, he who thus engages in steady practice of yoga, establishing himself in Om, the holy word of Brahman, and remembering me, spirit, at the time of his final exit from the body, reaches the highest goal. Okay. So again, specific things. So let's just see what all has been said again. Point number 1, he is saying, he who closes the 9 gates of the body. What are the 9 gates of the body? Is this the senses, the 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 1 mouth, and it pores for excretion. So all these 9 gates. So it is here, the body is considered as a fort, a fortress which has 9 gates. And normally what is happening is all the energy from the cerebrum is going down the spinal cord, then through efferent nerves it is going out, and then it is going, the energy goes out into the world, and in the world there is an object of the sense. So that connection happens, and then what happens is the intellect and the mind start to analyze, and then a desire is presented to you, and according to that desire you want to get something into the world, so you go more and more outward, and more energy from the cerebrum goes down the spine and outward into the world. So now what does closing the 9 gates of the body mean? It means that once you are trying to stop your engagement with the world. So you close your eyes. We know, Kriya Yogis know of the technique of Jyoti Mudra, which has been specifically taught to us. And in that, we are supposed to close our eyes, ears, and mouth, and we control all the data that is coming out from. So we close all those senses, and then we have to be focused at the spiritual eye. And that has been told by Krishna in the previous shloka, that all your prana shakti, you have to focus at the spiritual eye. And that is what Master says, is that this Jyoti Mudra technique, which is taught to the Kriya Yogi, it is to make the light in the spiritual eye manifest to us. And this is a very valuable technique. So those who are Kriya Yogis and doing your Kriyas half-heartedly or not doing Jyoti Mudra, beware, because this is where you have to, eventually we have to exit from here. So therefore we have to be able to concentrate at this point clearly. And we have to make this point so magnetic by our practice that at the time of death, we remember how to do this and we are able to focus. And that's the exam. So if you're still scattered at the time of death because you have been scattered throughout your life, then automatically an instinctive way of life will go, means you will go into the sleeping waters of Leth, as they say. And then according to your karma, you'll go to a particular astral universe, and according to your karma, you will brought again on earth. So this cycle will keep on repeating. But if you want to meet the Lord and we finally enter into moksha, then while we are living in the body, we have to practice closing the 9 gates of the body, focusing our prana, our attention at the point between the eyebrows, and trying to manifest the light there and enter the light there. Here. So, okay. So the next is, he says, who cloisters the mind in the heart. Again, so what does this mean? So normally our mind is having so many thoughts and so many emotions are associated with it, and so much data is also there in the mind. All of that has to be put to rest, and it has to be centered in our spine. And only that, then once you have centered all that energy in the spine, will you be able to offer it at the spiritual eye? How will you offer to the Lord your mind if you yourself are not in control of your mind. So first you have to stabilize your mind through yoga practice. You have to be in control of your prana, and then only you can offer not only the prana and the attention and also the love of the heart to the infinite Lord, which is present, who is available to us at the point between the eyebrows. Okay, so the master also says, he says, the advanced Kriya Yogi by this technique is able to control the life current that is ordinarily diffused throughout the body and to withhold its usual copious flow outward through the 9 gates or the openings of the body. Then he says, the mind is withdrawn from the lower 3 chakras around the, of course, we know that when you are a materialist, then you're basically functioning from the lower chakras. That is Manipur, Swadhisthana, and Mooladhara. But because we want to be liberated, so we have to be working through the upper chakras. So by magnetizing our heart, what happens is that flowing energy from the lower chakras is brought in, and by focusing it on the heart, then it's easy to go towards the spiritual eye. And that is why chanting is half the battle, because what chanting does, chanting works at the Anahat chakra with love. When you are singing to the Lord, there is a magnetism that is happening in this chakra, and this automatically draws the energy from the lower chakras upwards. And once it is here, then we know that the pranayam also is controlled at the Anahat chakra. So when you are performing pranayam and with love, then you can offer this energy. It is easy to take energy from here to the spiritual eye. Therefore, at all times, again, we must remember what are the desires which are seated in our heart. How are our emotions? Is our chitta all the time wildly engaged in emotions, or are we settled? Are we calm? And are we loving? And so that we are always prepared to meet the Lord whenever the body is ready to be dropped away. Then he says, and now comes the important point of the shloka number 13. It starts with Om Iti. So Om is that aksharam, focusing on which now that you have closed the 9 gates of the body, now you have centered your prana, you have focused your attention, you are giving your love. Now what you are supposed to do is you are supposed to focus on Om. And focusing on Om means, so not only, and of course we have practiced through life the chanting of Om, which can be a verbal outward or in a sense a mental chant of Om, but rather actually what Om mergence means is that inwardly through the practice of meditation, we are able to listen to the sound of Om. We are able to interiorize it. We are able to feel the continuity of the Om sound within our body and around, and we are able to consciously merge with it. So that is the next step. That is why Om Samadhi, Master said, is important, and that is why we have been given a specific meditation technique so that we can hear and merge with the sound of Om. And the other aspect of Om is light. So which is again, as Master said, that as you practice Jyoti Mudra, that light within you, that Jyoti within you, you will be able to see. And about Om, even Patanjali has said that Om is the symbol of God, is the name of God. So Om is that one sound or one word which represents God himself. So there are certain yogis who meditate just on Om, and that itself is sufficient for them. Just this thought is coming to me that in some medieval times, women were debarred from chanting Om. And it's very interesting because it is said that people who chant Om, they go towards Pratyahara, their attention is interiorized. And because women were supposed to manage the entire household, they were to manage the children and look after them. Then if the women would go into Pratyahara, then who would be doing all of that work? So that is why we know that the medieval times were dark times and people's understanding was very limited. They were very, very materially oriented. But this was the case that they were told not to chant Om. But now, of course, we are, as we are moving ahead and we know the higher truths. Therefore, Om chanting can be done by anybody at any time. And of course, in meditation, you should be doing the Om technique and listening and trying to merge with the Om sound. Okay. Then Master finally says for this shloka, he says, the yogi who steadfastly and successfully practices this method of realization attains consciously at the time of death complete liberation in spirit. Okay, wonderful. So here is the path, the key, and the method. Everything has been told to us. Now it is up to us to walk on the path and follow the guidelines that have been given. Shloka number 14. Ananya cheta satatam yoma smarati nityasha tasyaham sulabha partha nitya yuktasya yogina. हे पार्थ, मैं उस योगी को सहज ही प्राप्त हो जाता हूं जो एकाग्रचित होकर प्रतिदिन नित्य निरंतर अनन्य भाव से केवल मेरा स्मरण करता है. O Parth Arjuna, I am easily reached by that yogi who is single-hearted, who remembers me daily, continually, his mind intensely focused on me. So very, very encouraging. He says easily achieved. So when we think of God and when we think of the path to God, most of the world, the universe has this understanding that the path to God is very arduous, it is very difficult. But here what is Krishna saying? Krishna is saying to those who have given me their hearts and minds, to those who have surrendered to me, to those who think of me even while they are doing whatever they are doing, to them. And of course, specific techniques have been given, who have stabilized their mind, who have done pranayama and all of that. Once you are doing all of this, and I'm so happy to share that all of us here on the path of Kriya Yoga are, to some degree at least, we are doing all of these things. And because we are doing all of these things, and this is Krishna's promise to us, he is saying then it is easy for such a yogi. Now, easy for such a yogi only when the yogi is giving his or her 100%. So again, we need to introspect on a daily basis. Are we giving 100%? Firstly, we have to ask ourselves, are we sure we want to have moksha? Are we 100% dedicated to this goal? Are we very clear that yes, moksha is my goal? Because unless that is very clear and that is very sure, the rest of the effort is not going to fall in line. So first be sure of what you want, and then once you know what you want, then you have to put in a directional effort, a consistent effort, an unceasing effort. As Patanjali has also said that that your abhyas or practice should be unceasing. And that's what Krishna is saying here too, that unceasingly you have to remember him. Now, some people may say that, oh, then why has he, even created us if he wants us to think of him all the time, and so on and so forth. You can think like that, but actually, he is everything. If you see it from this perspective, that actually he is everything, you are him already. It's just that you don't remember him. And when he says, think of me always, it is to our benefit, because then we will remember very soon that we are Krishna himself. And by thinking all the time, then automatically our true nature will become manifest and the veils of delusion will automatically fall away. So this is his Leela. He has created us separately first, separating us from him, although we are him in a sense. And yet he wants us to find our way back. And then he's instructing that if you think of me, you will easily find your way back to me. So this is, we are like in a maze, and we don't know where the doors are, and when we don't know which chamber comes next in what. And therefore the guru who is watching, who knows all our karma, and that is where the help of the guru is required, because he can look at the entire maze of our life. He knows this is the entry point, this is the exit point, this is the shortcut, this is the door this person should take. And from that, he guides you through your own mind. And he says, when you are doing right, the Guru says, you will feel my smile in your heart. And once, if you're doing wrong, I will reason to you in your own thoughts. But this will become true only if we have tried to attune ourselves with the Guru. And once we are, more and more in attunement with him by studying his teachings, by listening to him, by singing his chants, by doing Kriya Yoga practice, meditation practice, by serving others, then that attunement will become stronger. Our telephone line with the Guru will become stronger, and he will be able to, help us all the time. We can download his data, just with the press of our heart button or our mental button. Okay. So here says that when the devotee's mind does not wander to any other desire, to any other likes, dislike, and it does not look for support from the world. So now let's ask ourselves this question, that when we are in difficulty, then whom do we approach first? Is it our habit to approach to the Lord of the universe, or is it that firstly we get worried, we get insane, we get anxious, we get fearful, and then we look for other people who are less wiser than us, who are less capable than even ourselves, or maybe more capable than us, but again of limited means in terms of wisdom or in terms of any kind of help they can provide. So this means that whenever we have any difficulty in life, the first one whom we approach should be the Lord, because the Lord is the support and the sustainer of the entire creation. And it is said that everything is possible unto the Lord. And that is, it's a statement from the Bible. And another beautiful statement from the Bible is that God is always faithful. This is very interesting and a very powerful statement. If you are loyal to the Lord, he will never let you down. He is faithful. And very interestingly, you cannot fire him from the job, and he's not going to retire from his job. So that means he's always available all the time, all the place. The only thing is that we don't turn to him. And that is, if we correct that little thing and remember him all the time and think of him and talk to him in our mind and pray to him and just send him our love, send him our gratitude for all the things that he is doing for us, then that is a connection, it's a live wire that we keep between ourselves and him, and he is then able to help us all the time. Okay. Then he says, Master says, one should be filled to the brim with the thought of God continuously and forever. It is not enough to think of him now and then. By steady practice, the mind can be trained to think of the Lord more and more and more. And of course, I'm sure all of you have noticed this. So there was a time in our life when we were not thinking of the Lord too much, and we were too busy in our work. But then we started to train our mind, and we started thinking a little bit more, a little bit more. And actually, the more you do, you feel that you're doing very less, and the more you want to do, and which is a good sign actually, to be able to know, to notice that how much of my time is being spent for the Lord or in the thought of Lord, and to notice what else is not. Then it becomes clear to us that we need to invest more of our time and energy, more and more of the Lord we must think. And there's a saint has said that, I'm forgetting his name. Was it Saint Augustine, or it was an Indian saint? He said that every moment is wasted that is not spent in the search for God. So this life, this human life, is precious. The days are passing by. And recently I was commenting to a friend, that this year just began. And now we are reaching the last quarter of this year. And the day comes, we do our work, the night falls, and the next day comes and the night falls, and the time is like just flying away. And soon it will be time for us to leave our bodies. So each moment is precious, each day is precious. Utilize your maximum capability to contemplate on the Lord, to think about the Lord, to give him the gift of your love. Okay. Then Master goes on for this verse. He says, the true devotee knows the value of constant and regular meditation, by which his life becomes an uninterrupted prayer. This is a beautiful line, that by constant and regular practice of meditation, your entire life will become an uninterrupted prayer. And how is that? Is that when we practice meditation and feel the peace, When you're feeling the peace of God or the bliss of God, then no words are really required to pray to Him because you're already connected to Him. So sometimes you are connecting to the Lord by prayer in your mind or a verbal prayer outside. But meditators and yogis are connecting to the Lord by the omnipresent abstract qualities of His, like peace, bliss, calmness, love, and so on. So whenever you feel love in your heart, you are connected to the Lord. You are praying to the Lord in a sense. Whenever you are sharing that love with your fellow beings, you are connected to the Lord. So even without words, your life is actually becoming an uninterrupted prayer. Yoga should not be practiced mechanically or from an oppressive sense of duty, but with joy and perpetual zeal. Now, very important, two very important things. Mechanically, are we doing our yoga practices mechanically, and are we doing it just for because there's a sense of duty? Oh, I must do yoga from this time to this time, so let me just do it, let me finish the job, and because I have other important things in life to do. Is this our attitude? Then it's not going to work. So because without the love of the heart, nothing will happen. Without your enthusiasm, without your willingness, without your joyfulness, you have to meet joy halfway. Without any of those qualities, without your intense, this mumukshutva, the intense desire for the Lord, it will not happen. And again, in the Bible, I'm quoting because Bible has just the same as the Gita. It just presents the things differently. Clearly, the Lord says, do not be lukewarm in your devotion. Are you wishy-washy with your devotion? Are you saying, oh, it's okay, little bit I will pray and little bit I want God, but I want the comforts of my life as well, and so on. So is our devotion lukewarm? Just let it be hot, let it be intense, let it be unceasing. And then you will be able to, with that zeal and enthusiasm, which you are going to meet the Lord who is your eternal beloved. And with that, once you meet the Lord who is your beloved, all the suffering of your life is going to end. And this is all what we all want. We want to exit from this suffering. And therefore, the method, the way, the attitude, everything has been explained by Krishna to Arjuna and to all of us. He says, each day's meditation should yield a deeper bliss than the previous day. So basically saying that your effort should keep on increasing. A deeper meditation is better than a longer meditation, but a deep, long meditation is obviously most wanted. But there are some days we have lesser time. If you have practiced longer, deeper meditations, at least once a week, then even in a short period of time, you will be able to bring in that intense focus that is required for feeling that God communion. So keep going. There are days when we may not be able to meditate long. There are days, there are difficulties in our outer life. All of that is true, but keep your goal fixed. Do not divert from the path. Do not go for window shopping. You have been shown the way. You have been given the keys to the kingdom of the Lord, and you know the goal. You know the way. Please walk on it. Let your direction and your goal be fixed. It's okay if the speed is slower one day or the next, but then you catch up. And you do not just say, oh, now I'm unable to do, it's too difficult for me to do. It's going to be always difficult. If not this incarnation, then next incarnation, the next incarnation, you will anyway have to go towards this final examination. So might as well start preparing yourself day by day, hour by hour, and moment by moment. Okay, this brings us to shloka number 15. मामुपेत्य पुनर्जन्म दुःखालयम् अशाश्वतम् नाप्नुवन्ति महात्मानः संसिद्धिं परमां गता. मेरे उत्कृष्ट भक्त मुझ ब्रह्म को प्राप्त कर लेने से परम सिद्धि को प्राप्त कर लेते हैं. वे दुख एवं क्षण भंगुरता के इस लोक में पुनर्जन्म नहीं लेते. My noble devotees, having obtained me, the Spirit, have reached supreme success. They incur no further rebirths in this abode of grief and transitoriness. So, two important words in this shloka is Dukhalyam and Ashashvatam. So Krishna is clearly stating that this world, which is our home right now, this is a world which is Dukhalyama, this is a house of grief. Just like Vidyalaya is the house of knowledge, similarly, Dukkhalaya is the house of grief. We are living in the house of grief. Now, we may say, oh, there are pleasures and joys in life. What about those? Every joy that you experience in life is mixed with pain. Every joy has a shadow of sorrow. And then it is ashashvatam. Ashashvatam means it is very, very temporary. All of this is impermanent. Even when you have the happiest moment in your life, that is not going to last. It is going to turn over the next day, the next week, the next month, next year. Sometime it is going to turn over and become sorrow. This is a world of duality, and both the extremes are going to happen. Both pleasure or pain will have to be experienced. We cannot say that we will only have pleasure and not have pain. That is not possible in this world, and therefore there is grief. Also, even if you want any happiness, then with so much hard work, a painful work has to be put in to get to that happiness. And even when you get that happiness, it changes over to sorrow sooner or later. And that is why that is the reason. That's why Krishna says to Arjuna to get away from this Dukhalyam and Ashashvatam. And he says, if you do not want repeated births in this world, then all the things that has been said in the previous the verses comes true. It says, having obtained me, once you obtain me through the various ways that have been told, then you will not need to be reborn in this world. So how many of us do not want to be reborn in this world, because we do realize that this is a place of suffering. And beautifully, if we look at the four noble truths of the Buddha, the very first noble truth of the Buddha is that there is suffering in this world. And once you accept that there is suffering in this world, then only you will ask the next question, which is the second noble truth. Why is there suffering? And the Buddha answers the second noble truth is there is suffering in this world because of Trishna or because of desire. Okay, so now once that is done, then the third naturally comes, and is there a way out? Then the Buddha says there is a way out of suffering into nirvana. That is the third noble truth. And the fourth noble truth gives the pathway to nirvana, and which is the eightfold path. And maybe someday we can have a short class on Buddhist teachings and we can discuss that eightfold noble path. But yes, Krishna is saying this is Dukhalyam. Buddha is saying there is suffering in this world. If we are seeing it otherwise, means we are being very, very short-sighted, and we are not looking at the longer rhythms of life. We are not looking all around us. And also, what happens is in normal public, what they look at is maybe they are going to a mall, they are going to a party, they are going to a cinema hall, they are going to family get-togethers, and everybody seems to be pretty happy in those surroundings. But to many people, I say, why don't you visit a hospital around you? And you will see how much suffering there is. It's just that we are not seeing it, but it's there. It's only when you or your family member gets sick that you actually go to the hospital and you realize that, oh, there are hundreds and thousands of, millions of people who are sick. And those who are dying, you're not going to the shamshan now and then. And so you don't know how many bodies are being burnt on the cremation ground every day. And of course, COVID made the picture more obvious for everybody, that you are seeing suffering everywhere around you. And so many people had to visit the cremation ghats at that time and seeing so many bodies being burned simultaneously. We have all been through that. But then once that phase is over, we quickly forget. So therefore, we must remind us of the truth of this world. And if we are just engaged in the pleasure, then these pleasures are nothing but poisoned honey, because they seem to be, very attractive and tempting and very tasty and very sweet, but it is poisoned. You are going to be killed. The more you are wanting sense pleasures, the more it is going to take away your power from you. The more you're going to become a slave to it, the more bondage and the more suffering. And yet the other way is that it is difficult to practice yoga and train your mind It is difficult to turn your bad habits into good habits. But that difficulty, if you are able to do that austerity, then your life, it is said, will become, Krishna says, it will become sweet like nectar. With all the yoga abhyas that you have done, with all the good virtues that you have developed in yourself, your life will become sweet and as nectar, because you are entering the quality of sattva, and from sattva, it is easier to transcend the three gunas and go into that one absolute reality. So let us not forget this shloka as we engage in our daily activities, that suffering is just waiting around the corner. Some people are suffering right now, and sometimes you're not suffering physically, but your mind is suffering, your emotional health is down. And of course, your spiritual health is down because there is so much ignorance. So all these levels of suffering will be present, and even if they are not present in your life right now, I'm happy for you, but then they are just waiting around the corner. This is true for everybody, and that is what Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, Nanak dukhiya sab sansar. The entire world is in sorrow. Okay. So what here Master, his explanation, he says, so long as the realization does not come, man is whirled round in births and deaths. But those who take complete refuge in the Lord and unite their consciousness with Him are freed from the cycle of birth and death, and they are freed from repeated suffering. Then he gives us advice. He says, striving yogis should pragmatically view this world as a school. So we are in a training school. He said earlier, military training school. The highest lesson set for each man is the realization that he is not a mortal, beset by pain and mutability. So the lesson is we have to learn. We think that we are dying, but only the bodies are dying. And Master said the purpose of death is to tell you that you cannot die. So we have to understand our immortality. Even while we are living in mortal bodies, yet this is a school which will train us to understand that we are immortal. And because we are immortal, whatever pain there is, it is a temporary phenomenon. We are not beset by pain and mutability in our true nature. When we understand our true nature as consciousness rather than matter, then automatically we are going to transcend suffering. Then he says, you must realize that you are free son of God. The good student who is successful in the tests of earthly life and who passes the final examination has no need to return for further instruction. So again, introspection. How unattached are we to this world, or how attached are we to this world? How many desires are still lingering in our mind? How many likes and dislikes are we, engaging in all throughout? And how much I-ness do we have? These are the 5 kleshas that are there which obstruct our path to the infinite. What are these 5 kleshas? Avidya, ignorance; asmita, I-ness; raga, likes or attraction; dvesha, repulsion or dislikes; and abhinivesha means clinging to bodily existence. These are the 5 kleshas that obstruct our path to the infinite. And we have to introspect again that how much are we trapped in all of these kleshas. And we have to get rid of them eventually if we want to merge with the infinite Lord. Okay, this brings us to shloka number 16. Abrahma bhuvana loka punaravartinorjuna mamupetya tu kaunteya punarjanma na vidyate. हे अर्जुन, जो योगी जन अभी जगत से मुक्त नहीं हुए हैं, वे उच्च ब्रह्मलोक समाधि में ईश्वर से मिलन से भी पुनः जगत में वापस आ जाते हैं, परंतु मुझ अनुभवातीत पार ब्रह्म को प्राप्त करने के उपरांत पुनर्जन्म नहीं होता है. Yogis not yet free from the world revolve back again to the world, even from the high sphere of Brahma. But on entering into me, the transcendental spirit, there is no rebirth, O son of Kunti, Arjuna. So here the mention of Brahmalok has come in. So it is said that there are many lokas of existence. So we are in the Bhulok right now, and there are 7 lokas upwards and 7 lokas downwards, as many scriptures talk about. And out of these, Satya Lok or Brahmalok is supposed to be the highest loka. And it is said that even when you are in Brahmaloka, still there is a chance that you can come back to Bhuloka if you still have lingering desires. You have been a very, 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 very good person. You have been a great, 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 great yogi, but you still have lingering desires. So, because of your good karma, you will ascend to higher heavens. But unless you realize your identity with the infinite spirit, unless you realize that you are formless, infinite, omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipotent like the Lord, till then, as long as you identify yourself with as a separate entity, whether it is a causal separate entity, an astral separate entity, or a physical separate entity, however good or beautiful and wonderful it may be, till then you have to keep coming back on earth to this school, because only from this school you will graduate into the truth and the fact that you are omnipresent consciousness and you are not a separate identity. And therefore, even if you may go to the highest lokas, the return is guaranteed, because you have not worked out all your desires. But here Krishna says that if you can merge with me, that transcendental spirit, then there is no need to go to be reborn. And again, a parallel from the Bible where the Christ says that those who overcome just as I have, to them I will make them a pillar in heaven, and they needn't go out again. Again, so you do not need to take rebirth on this earth, which is Dukhalyam and Ashashvatam, and you can be one with the Lord if you have overcome all your desires, if you can overcome all temptations, if in the school of life you have learned to unite your consciousness with the one consciousness of the Lord, you have understood the truth that I am the Son of God, that I am immortal, I am infinite, immortal bliss. Then your lesson is complete. Then at the time of passing from earth, you can merge into that infinite omnipresent consciousness, and you needn't return to earth. So uh, here again, even for the yogi, master says, now people who may go into samadhi state. Now people who go into savikalpa samadhi state, it's like being in Brahmaloka. In a sense, you feel that oneness with spirit. But because it's a temporary state, we should remember, unless we are in nirvikalpa samadhi, we are not fully realized. So even from that state, you will come back to the earth, and if you have still working remaining desires and some karma to be solved, then again you can get lost easily. So it is important to stay persistent and consistent in your practice of yoga, in your ability to commune with the omnipresence, till you are firmly established in, till you are, in the asthita pragya, means an established in wisdom, or you are nitya yukta, one with that infinite Lord. Till that stage is achieved, you should be very careful, and Master has told us, till your last breath, you should be focused, you should be dedicated, you should have devotion for the Lord, you should be able to practice pranayam throughout your life, and you should be living a sattvic, good life. If you want to get freed from this cycle of birth and death, it is not easy to get freed, and we have studied what Krishna said, that only one out of 1,000 is seeking him. And thankfully, at least we are one of those 1,000. Then, of course, the percentage gets a little more difficult after that, but at least we are seeking him. But now what we need to do is be more dedicated, be more focused, gather all our scattered energies and thoughts and give it to the Lord, because we want to transcend all the suffering of this earth. And it is our birthright. It is our birthright to taste perfect bliss, because we are children of the infinite, because we are children of that infinite bliss. And we will reclaim our birthright by giving it our best shot, by putting in all the effort and drawing in the grace of the God and the Guru. And we will make it. And let's say that I'm not going to fall short of this. Say to yourself, I will not settle for less. Until I have oneness with God, I will not stop, and I will not stop crying and calling upon the Divine Mother till the moment she comes and picks me up. I'm not going to, I'm going to be restless for God, full of enthusiasm, full of zeal, and full of love. With that thought, friends, we will end today's class and we will share the powerful teachings, the blessings that we have received with soul friends everywhere. Let us pray together. Divine Mother, beloved Krishna, thou art omnipresent. Thou art in all thy children. Manifest thy healing presence in all bodies, all minds, and all souls. Om. 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 Divine Mother, beloved Krishna, great Gurus, may thy love shine forever on the sanctuary of our devotion, and may we be able to awaken thy love in all true hearts. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.